Rivian failed to pay $204 million, says Supplier. One of Rivian's former suppliers is currently suing the electric vehicle (EV) maker, claiming that it failed to pay a reimbursement clause for cancellations on a contract for electric motors. Rivian last year moved to bring the production of its EV motors in-house, effectively canceling a supply deal with Bosch, after claiming the supplier had reckless failures in delivering the number of motors needed. Now, Bosch is claiming that Rivian refused to pay $204 million in reimbursements for the canceled plans, leaving the company with significant stranded capital and a hole in revenue via automotive news. Bosch sued Rivian in July for breaching the contract, and the automaker immediately followed up with a lawsuit of its own against the supplier. In its countersuit, Rivian blamed Bosch for production shortages and said that the company's failure to deliver on the electric motors deal had resulted in a 30,000-unit drop in planned production output. As part of the partnership, Bosch invested millions of dollars into tooling a factory in Germany, where it first produced the e-motors for Rivian. The company also built a 30,000-square-foot production line at its plant in South Carolina to help produce the units. Given these significant investments, and that Rivian was an electric vehicle startup that had never manufactured vehicles before, Rivian contracted to reimburse Bosch for all its unamortized costs should Rivian cancel the program early, Bosch said in the lawsuit. Bosch was initially contracted to build 200,000 motors for Rivian this year, though the automaker officially canceled the contract last September. In the suit, Bosch claims that Rivian had secretly been planning to replace the supply with its own Enduro e-motor system, despite having told Bosch that the two would be used in tandem. The company also says that Rivian's production issues have been related to semiconductor shortages rather than those of its e-motors. While Rivian's choice to cut costs and develop a new product may be understandable, Rivian cannot simply ignore its contractual duties to reimburse Bosch, the company adds. Rivian and Bosch both declined to comment on the legal efforts in a statement to automotive news affiliates at Crane's Detroit business. Despite canceling the order, Rivian has struggled with production of the motors in its own right, with the company earlier this month reducing its production guidance by 8,000 to 10,000 units to instead aim for between 47,000 and 49,000 this year. The automaker cited an increasingly difficult parts shortage that had been affecting its production of both its R1 and van units. In August, Rivian alluded to a similar parts shortage that caused it to pause van production. It's unclear if the two shortages are related, as in both cases, Rivian did not respond to teslarati's requests for comment or disclose what components were having supply issues. Source: reposted and summarized from Zachary Visconti at teslarati.